growing. It's Jo Swan here, the educational gardener from Bulwell Forest Garden, and we are in mid-March, and so we're having lots of seasons in one day. So we just had some hailstones, we had sunshine this morning. It's not quite sure what it wants to do, but it's probably going to chuck it down in a bit. So yeah, so we're still being quite cautious. We're going to start today, and we're still focusing on relatively hardy plants for the next couple of weeks. So we're going to start with your packs. So first plant you've got is a sorrel. So this is sorrel. This is a perennial. It's hardy and it's a herb, so it's an herbaceous perennial. So the reason I've chosen this plant is because it is incredibly robust, and because it is a really good plant for this time of year to get some sort of greenery. So it's got a lemony taste, it's really packed with vitamin C and loads of goodness, and you can use it in salads, you can use it on fish, there's loads, you can put it in sandwiches in place of lettuce, but you don't cook it, because if you cook it, it goes brown. And so if you look after this, by this time next year you could have a big clump. So these plants have come from my allotment, from clumps of plants that I've had for about 20 years. So yeah, look after it and you get a good source of greenery at this time of year when it's scarce. So the first thing I'm going to do with this plant, as ever, is when it's in a pot, we need to check its root system. And it's filled its pot. There's no earth falling off it, so I'm just going to tease it out here a little bit, and I'm going to put it into a big pot. Now sorrel doesn't like to be too dry, and it tends to like clayier soils, so it doesn't actually grow that well on the sandy stuff here, but we're going to grow them in pots, so it will need a bigger pot than this eventually, but for now I'm going to put it in this size. Putting my compost around, making sure I'm filling the gaps. I've got a nice peat-free compost. Firming it down, and I probably would, I haven't got any scissors handy, so I'll just use my fingers. I'll probably harvest some of these bigger leaves, and then it'll get the plant to generate some new growth. Got a few off there, so that just needs the water now, and that can go outside. It's fully hardy, very tough, robust plant. So the next plant you've got is a wallflower. Again, it's hardy. This is a biannual, so 2 years. So it was grown in the autumn and it'll flower this year. And I've got a picture here. So this is just to show you how hardy they are. So this is the wallflowers just they're just coming into bloom, and they've got loads and loads of buds on them. So these are ones that we grew last year. Right, so we're gonna check out his root system again. You can see the roots poking through, and there's a few snails on there as well. So we want to get rid of them, get them on the compost heap probably. And you can see it's totally filled its pot. Tease it out a little bit. I've got a bigger pot, some in the base, plant in the middle, compost in around it. Press it down. It's very hardy. So what I'm going to do with this plant is, because it's put its energy into growing up one sort of single stem here, is I'm going to pinch out the top. So I'm just going to take out this little bit of top, pinch out that top growth, and I want it to get it to bush out some side shoots, so it's got lots more flowers on it. And again, that just needs a water, and it could go outside. And then the final thing you've got in your pack is some peas. So I think there'll be douche Provence plants that you've got, or if not another early pea, early onwards. And I'm going to do these in our trusty toilet roll tubes. So I've got some thinner ones here, so I've managed to get 12 into one of these containers. So I've filled them up with a peat-free compost. And then I'm going to dip a hole in each, probably about an inch deep. If you do them too deep, they might rot. So it's good to do them about an inch. And then it is good to soak your seeds first, but I don't have time, so they'll be okay. And I'm just going to put one seed into each tube. So I'll have 12, but they might not all germinate. So that's one seed in each. So these are hardy, quite hardy peas that are designed to be sown this time of year, and they're in what's called an early pea as opposed to a main crop. And I think these are easier to grow, to be honest, than the main crop, because often they get really dry and thirsty in the summer, so you get a crop off these before the heat waves and the droughts set in. So I was going to show you peas that one of my volunteer sets. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. So these are just starting to come up here. You can see them shooting up. So that's good. Okay, so then we're just going to have a little look. So they'll just need a water with a fine rose. And then we're just going to have a look at previous packs very quickly, just at things that need doing. So these are my broad beans, which I did in toilet roll tubes. So you can see their root systems there. So I planted 5 seeds. There doesn't seem to be, oh yeah, it's germinating. Or is it rotten? No, it's rotted actually, that one. Let's have a look in this one. I think that one's rotted as well. So what I'm going to do is I've got these 3 that look good. So I'm aiming to plant these 3 because they're dwarf ones for containers. I will, if I can get all 3 of these to grow, I will eventually put them into a bigger pot together. But for the time being, I'm going to put them into this size pot. So I'm going to put the whole thing, the tube and everything, into the pot because the tube's biodegradable, and it means I won't be interfering with the plant's root system. It'll just rot away, so that's good. So that's one. One. So 3 out of 5 did okay, and the mouse managed to survive the mouse. So shows how you need to sow more seeds than you think you need, because they still could be some. Well, hopefully there won't be, but you could still lose one or 2 of these. You never know. So the wildflower seeds have germinated, but they're small yet, so I don't need to do anything with them. And the calendulas, there's like 2 peeping out there. Again, too small to do anything with, so we'll leave them. So the final thing I wanted to show you, because it is a perfect time to do it, is how to divide snowdrops. So we're going to go into the woods. So this is our new wildlife area, which we've tried to designate as a conservation area, and as you can see we've got kind of a nice spread of snowdrops here, but what I want to do, the aim is to fill this area with snowdrops for years to come. So what I'm going to be doing this week is dividing these clumps, and it's called planting in the green. So I'm going to show you, so you might just have a little clump like this, but I'm going to show you how to make a bigger area, sort of like a drift of snowdrops. So I'm going to choose this clump and I'm going to dig. So I've dug it up and now I'm going to divide it into smaller clumps, making sure I've got earth around there and that the bulb is actually in there. So I don't want to just plant the leaves because nothing will grow, it's the bulb that's going to generate the growth. So I think I'll go with 3 clumps out of this one that I've dug up because it's not a massive bunch. So I'm probably going to put one back where it was. Tread it down. Back in. It's nice humus rich soil in here, so I'm going to dig a couple more holes here for my new ones. Okay, I've got this bunch coming in with it. I'm going to put it in here. Again, same principle, earth back round it. It's a good time to do this when at this time of March, early March to the middle of March, because they finish flowering then and you're not going to sort of damage them, and it's like ideal time to do it. Dig another hole. So I wouldn't do this if your ground was frozen. I'd wait for a decent day to do it because it'd be hard work as much as anything. So that's it. So I've got 3 clumps instead of 1 there. So I'm just going to give them a watering. And then I will be doing this with all the other clumps this week and trying to spread them as much around this sort of wild area as possible. So hopefully next year we'll just have a really great display of snowdrops in our wildlife area. So yeah, I think that's it. So thanks for watching, and yeah, get wrapped up, get out, get busy, get dividing your snowdrops, get planting. And spring will be here soon, and yeah, in a couple of weeks hopefully we'll be starting to plant things like sunflowers and getting a little bit more ambitious by the end of March. Okay, thanks for watching.